Deep in the heart of ancient Rome lay a world of intensity and mystery, where daring participants stepped into the arena, risking everything for a chance at immortality. Trained to captivate and conquer, these warriors stood at the crossroads of spectacle and survival. What secrets fueled their fearless resolve? Their existence was a paradox, shaped by rigorous discipline, constant danger, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Behind the glittering facade of the Colosseum lay a world defined by preparation, symbolic rituals, and extraordinary courage. Journey into the depths of this fascinating realm with these 15 incredible facts and uncover the untold stories of the gladiators who mesmerized an empire. Fact number 1. Gladiatorial games evolved from funeral rites into iconic Roman spectacles. Gladiatorial games began not as grand public spectacles, but as solemn rites tied to funerary traditions. These rituals, known as munera, were conducted to honor the dead, with the belief that bloodshed appeased spirits and secured their place in the afterlife. Wealthy families would sponsor combat between captives or slaves as part of these ceremonies, blending sacrifice with tradition. This practice, believed to have Etruscan roots, laid the foundation for what would become one of Rome's most iconic institutions. Over time, these private rituals transformed into public events, especially during the late Republic. Roman leaders began sponsoring games to gain political favor and demonstrate their wealth and power. What started as a sacred duty morphed into a form of mass entertainment, eventually moving from small, localized gatherings to grand arenas like the Colosseum. By the time of the Empire, gladiatorial games were a central feature of Roman culture. Fact number 2. Not all gladiators were slaves. Some were free men seeking fame and fortune. Contrary to popular belief, gladiators came from a variety of backgrounds. While many were slaves or prisoners of war forced into the arena, some were free men who volunteered for the perilous life. These volunteers, known as auctorati, sought glory, financial rewards, or a chance to escape their past. For them, the arena represented an opportunity to gain fame and fortune, albeit at great risk. This mix of compulsion and choice made the gladiator ranks uniquely diverse. Enslaved gladiators were often seen as tragic figures bound by fate, while volunteers were admired for their bravery. Both types, however, shared a common destiny: to fight for survival under the roaring eyes of the Roman populace. This blend of desperation and ambition added layers of complexity to the arena, where every fighter's background became part of the drama. Fact number 3. Every gladiator swore an oath to endure pain, chains, and death without protest. Becoming a gladiator meant submitting to a life of hardship and danger. Upon joining a gladiatorial school, recruits swore a binding oath known as the Sacramentum Gladiatorum. This oath committed them to endure branding, chains, whippings, and death without resistance. It was both a legal and symbolic act, signifying their complete surrender to the demands of the arena and the authority of the lanista, trainer. For free men who volunteered, this oath was a bold declaration of their willingness to risk everything for a chance at glory. For slaves, it marked the acceptance of a life they could not escape. This oath reinforced the brutal hierarchy of the gladiatorial schools, where discipline and obedience were paramount. It also served as a mental preparation for the challenges ahead, binding all gladiators to the relentless demands of their new existence. Fact number 4. Gladiators trained for specific fighting styles, creating thrilling and varied battles. Training was the foundation of every gladiator's career. Gladiators trained in ludi, schools, where they honed their combat skills under the supervision of experienced trainers known as doctores. These schools operated with military precision, subjecting recruits to rigorous physical conditioning and specialized weapon training. Each gladiator was assigned a specific combat style, such as the heavily armed Mamillo or the agile Retiarius. This specialization ensured that battles were varied and entertaining, with fighters strategically paired for maximum drama. For instance, the lightly armored Retiarius, with his net and trident, was often matched against the shielded and sword-wielding Secutor, creating a classic clash of speed versus strength. Beyond combat skills, gladiators were taught to perform for the crowd, ensuring their movements and techniques were as theatrical as they were deadly. Training prepared them not only to fight, but also to captivate. Fact number 5. The presence of wild beasts created moments of raw and unpredictable danger. The use of wild animals in gladiatorial games introduced a chilling unpredictability to the arena. Beasts from distant lands, lions, tigers, leopards, elephants, bears, crocodiles, and even rhinoceroses, were captured at great cost and transported to Rome, far from their natural habitats. Their presence was a display of the empire's vast reach and power, showcasing its ability to dominate even nature's fiercest creatures. For the audience, these encounters were exhilarating and dangerous. For the animals, they were moments of terror and disorientation. Staged hunts, venations, often featured gladiators or condemned prisoners battling these animals in dramatic displays of survival. The arena became a theater of brutality, with man and beast pitted against one another for the crowd's entertainment. While spectators marveled at the raw power and beauty of the creatures, their forced participation underscored the empire's relentless quest for spectacle and the human cost of such displays. Fact number 6. The Colosseum hosted naval battles, flooding the arena for spectacular sea fights. The ingenuity of Roman engineering allowed the Colosseum to host naumachii, or mock naval battles, which recreated famous sea conflicts. To stage these spectacles, the arena floor was flooded with water, and specially constructed ships were brought in. Gladiators or prisoners reenacted historical battles, fighting aboard the vessels as the crowd marveled at the realism and scale of the performance. These battles were a testament to Rome's ability to manipulate nature for entertainment. They showcased not only the technical prowess of the empire, but also its wealth and resources, as staging such events required massive effort and expense. While less frequent than traditional gladiatorial combat, naumachii were among the most awe-inspiring spectacles of the games, leaving spectators in awe of the empire's power and innovation. Fact number 7. Gladiators adopted dramatic stage names, transforming themselves into legendary figures. Gladiators were not just fighters, they were performers who often adopted stage names to heighten their appeal. These names evoked gods, legendary heroes, or exotic origins, adding mystique and drama to their personas. For instance, a gladiator might take the name of Hercules to symbolize strength, or a foreign-sounding name to suggest intrigue. These aliases allowed gladiators to craft larger-than-life identities that resonated with the crowd. The adoption of a stage name also helped dehumanize them, turning individuals into characters that fit the grand narratives of the games. This practice blurred the line between reality and performance, making each match not only a contest of skill, but also a theatrical event. For the spectators, these names added another layer of excitement and storytelling to the spectacle. Fact number 8. Female gladiators occasionally competed, bringing rare and exotic intrigue to the arena. Though rare, female gladiators, gladiatrices, brought a unique dynamic to the games. They often appeared in novelty matches, facing off against other women or wild animals. These battles, while less common, were just as intense and demanding as those of their male counterparts. Roman art and inscriptions immortalized these women, offering glimpses into their contributions to the arena's legacy. Their presence challenged traditional roles, transforming the games into a platform for both entertainment and societal reflection. Female gladiators were more of a spectacle than a staple. Their inclusion meant to captivate audiences with their novelty. However, their careers were short-lived. Emperor Septimius Severus banned women from fighting in 200 AD, likely due to concerns about the moral implications of their participation in such violent public displays. Fact number 9. Some games featured thousands of gladiators, showcasing Rome's wealth and power. The scale of some gladiatorial games was staggering, showcasing Rome's ability to orchestrate events on an epic level. Emperor Trajan's games, held to celebrate his victories, lasted 123 days and featured over 10,000 gladiators and thousands of wild animals. These massive events combined combat, animal hunts, and theatrical displays to captivate the audience. Such spectacles weren't just entertainment, they were demonstrations of Roman power and wealth. They reinforced the emperor's authority and the empire's ability to command resources on an unprecedented scale. For the audience, these grand displays were an opportunity to witness Rome's grandeur firsthand. The sheer logistics involved, from transporting animals to organizing thousands of fighters, underscored the empire's dominance and its commitment to entertaining its people. Fact number 10. The Roman state took control of gladiator schools, using the games for propaganda. Initially, gladiators were privately owned, trained, and managed by lanistae, gladiator trainers. However, as the games grew in scale and importance, the Roman state took greater control. By the imperial period, many gladiators were state-owned and trained in public schools, such as the famous Ludus Magnus near the Colosseum. This shift allowed emperors to use the games as tools of propaganda. Sponsoring extravagant events demonstrated their generosity and reinforced their power, ensuring loyalty from the masses. State involvement also standardized training and logistics, elevating the games from private ventures to state-sponsored spectacles. This change reflected the increasing centralization of power in Rome, with gladiatorial combat becoming a political as well as a cultural institution. Fact number 11. Popular gladiators became household names, celebrated like modern sports stars. For some gladiators, the arena was not just a stage for combat, but also a path to fame. Successful fighters became celebrated icons, adored by fans and admired for their bravery. The most popular gladiators inspired graffiti, songs, and even merchandise, with wealthy patrons vying to sponsor them. Their triumphs earned them riches, privileges, and, in rare cases, freedom. Despite their fame, gladiators occupied a paradoxical position in Roman society. They were revered as heroes by the public, but were still considered socially inferior due to their association with violence and servitude. Their celebrity status blurred these lines, granting them a level of influence and recognition unparalleled by others of their station. Like modern athletes or performers, they lived under the dual pressure of public adoration and relentless expectation. Fact number 12. Gladiators followed a carefully crafted diet to sustain their strength and endurance. Gladiators followed a strict diet designed to build endurance and maintain their strength. Known as barley eaters, hordearii, they primarily consumed grains, beans, and barley to sustain their energy during intense training and combat. This plant-based diet emphasized stamina over agility, providing the bulk and resilience needed for prolonged battles. To supplement their diet, gladiators drank a calcium-rich tonic made from vinegar and wood ash, believed to strengthen their bones. This regimen, though simple, was meticulously managed to ensure peak physical condition. Unlike the meat-heavy diets of the Roman elite, The gladiators' fare reflected the disciplined and utilitarian nature of their lifestyle, prioritizing function over indulgence. Fact number 13. Romans believed gladiator blood held mystical powers and used it in remedies. In Roman society, gladiators were believed to possess extraordinary qualities, even in death. Their blood was thought to hold mystical and medicinal properties, particularly as a cure for epilepsy. Some believed that consuming the blood of a fallen gladiator transferred their strength or vitality to the living. Bones and other remains were also used in potions and remedies, reflecting the deep superstitions of the time. These practices highlight the spiritual and symbolic significance attributed to gladiators. Their existence was not only about entertainment, but also about embodying primal forces of life and death. This belief in the power of their remains underscores the near-mythical status they held in Roman culture, where even their deaths contributed to the spectacle of their legacy. Fact number 14. Spartacus led a massive uprising that shook the Roman Empire to its core. One of the most remarkable episodes in gladiatorial history was the rebellion led by Spartacus. A Thracian gladiator, Spartacus escaped from a gladiatorial school in 73 BC, rallying tens of thousands of slaves and disenfranchised people to his cause. His army fought several Roman legions, posing a significant threat to the empire before being defeated in 71 BC. Spartacus's rebellion became a symbol of resistance against oppression and highlighted the fragility of Rome's social order. Though his uprising ultimately failed, his story endured as a testament to the resilience and determination of the oppressed. Spartacus remains one of the most enduring figures from gladiatorial history, representing defiance and the universal fight for freedom. Fact number 15. The games eventually ended as Rome embraced new cultural and moral values. The last gladiatorial games were held in 404 AD, marking the end of an era. Emperor Honorius officially banned the games after a Christian monk named Telemachus protested against the violence in the arena and was killed by the crowd. This event, combined with the growing influence of Christianity, led to the decline of gladiatorial combat as public entertainment. The ban reflected a cultural shift in the Roman Empire, where values were moving away from the spectacle of violence toward a new moral framework. The end of the games symbolized not only the decline of Roman traditions, but also the changing identity of the empire itself. The legacy of gladiators, however, continues to captivate modern imagination, offering a window into the complexities of ancient Roman society. Thank you for watching. Do you know any other fascinating facts about the gladiators of ancient Rome? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss more incredible facts and untold history.